The world awoke to a seismic headline, one that would ripple through every major capital and set the tone for a new chapter in international relations. China and Turkey sign historic Silk and Crescent strategic partnership. The news dominated front pages and airwaves, instantly becoming the focal point of global attention. In Istanbul, Presidents Xi Jinping and Recep Tayyip Erdogan's handshake was broadcast live to millions, a powerful symbol of unity and the dawn of a new era in global politics. The world watched as two leaders, once seen as distant, now stood shoulder to shoulder. The announcement sent shockwaves through financial markets and diplomatic circles from New York to Brussels. Traders scrambled to adjust, while diplomats held urgent meetings trying to decipher the long-term consequences. Western intelligence agencies were caught off guard, scrambling to assess the implications. Analysts pored over documents, searching for clues about what this partnership could mean for the balance of power. News outlets worldwide debated. Was this a pragmatic economic pact, a strategic masterstroke, or a direct challenge to the established global order? Pundits and experts offered conflicting interpretations, fueling uncertainty. The setting, Dolmabahce Palace, underscored the ambition behind the deal. Its opulent halls, steeped in history, provided a dramatic backdrop for a moment that would be remembered for years to come. The joint statement promised a new era of win-win cooperation and a multipolar world. Both leaders spoke of shared prosperity, mutual respect, and a vision that challenged the old hierarchies. Social media exploded with speculation as China-Turkey deal trended globally. Commentators, citizens, and influencers weighed in, their opinions as divided as the world's capitals. For China, it was a Belt and Road breakthrough, an expansion of influence into new territory. For Turkey, it marked a bold pivot from the West, signaling a willingness to chart its own course. The world's assumptions about alliances and power were upended in a single morning. Old certainties faded, replaced by questions about who would lead and who would follow. Beijing and Ankara had just redrawn the map, leaving everyone else to wonder what comes next. As the dust settled, one thing was clear: the global order would never be the same again. What's inside this game-changing deal? The Silk and Crescent Accord is more than trade. It's a blueprint for deep integration. China pledges $200 billion to modernize Turkish infrastructure, ports, high-speed rail, and a global logistics hub in Istanbul. The tech pillar is transformative joint ventures in semiconductors, 5G, 6G, AI, and even space exploration. Turkey gains a path to tech independence. China expands its tech giant's reach. Strategic coordination is the most sensitive. Regular security dialogues, joint military exercises, and intelligence sharing. A massive currency swap stabilizes Turkey's economy, and both nations commit to trading in yuan and lira, sidestepping the US dollar. This isn't just a deal, it's a symbiotic partnership designed to reshape both economies and their global roles. The Silk and Crescent Accord is a direct challenge to the old order. World capitals reacted instantly, revealing deep divisions. The EU expressed concern, urging Turkey to align with Western values, while Germany called for an emergency summit. Middle Eastern powers watched closely, some silent, some cautiously optimistic, all aware the US security umbrella is fading. Iran welcomed the deal as a challenge to Western dominance. Israel quietly voiced security concerns. In Asia, Japan and South Korea reaffirmed old alliances, while India saw the move as a strategic warning. Central Asian nations eyed new opportunities as transit hubs. In Washington, the White House called the deal troubling, with Congress demanding a review of US-Turkey ties. Analysts warned of Chinese access to NATO-adjacent infrastructure. Few nations are neutral. This deal has split the world. The global response is as complex as the partnership itself. The economic impact is monumental. $200 billion in Chinese investment could transform Turkey into a logistics powerhouse. This influx of capital is not just about new buildings or infrastructure, it's about reshaping Turkey's role on the world stage. With these investments, Turkey stands to become a central hub for trade, connecting continents and facilitating the movement of goods between East and West like never before. New high-speed rail links will complete China's Belt and Road Middle Corridor, connecting Xi'an to Istanbul and Europe, bypassing Russia and the Suez Canal. This route is designed to streamline logistics, reduce travel times, and open up new opportunities for both Turkish and international businesses. The vision is to create a seamless corridor where goods can move efficiently across thousands of kilometers. This overland route could shift global trade, making shipping faster and cheaper for many industries. By offering an alternative to traditional sea routes, it could help companies avoid bottlenecks and delays, while also reducing transportation costs. The ripple effects could be felt across manufacturing, retail, and technology sectors worldwide. Turkey's Bosphorus Strait becomes even more vital, serving as a gateway between Asia and Europe. At the same time, local businesses face new competition from Chinese firms entering the market, bringing both challenges and opportunities for growth and collaboration. Critics warn of debt risks and economic dependency, echoing concerns seen in other Belt and Road countries. Some fear that heavy borrowing could leave Turkey vulnerable to financial pressures, while others argue that careful management and strategic planning can help avoid the pitfalls experienced elsewhere. Central Asia and the Caucasus may benefit as key transit points, gaining new infrastructure and economic activity, while traditional shipping powers could lose out as trade routes shift away from their ports. The EU is pressured to accelerate its own infrastructure projects to compete. European leaders are now rethinking their strategies, investing in faster railways and modern ports to maintain their influence in global trade. The Silk Crescent Accord is about more than railways. It's about building a new economic ecosystem. It's a vision for deeper cooperation, innovation, and shared prosperity, shaping the future of trade and development across continents. The China-Turkey Pact is a seismic shift, challenging the US-led post-Cold War order. Turkey, long a NATO cornerstone, now becomes a geopolitical swing state, balancing East and West. For China, partnering with a NATO member is a diplomatic coup, fracturing Western unity and expanding its influence from the Mediterranean to North Africa. The Middle East is entering a multipolar era, with regional powers emboldened to pursue independent policies. The US faces a dilemma: punish Turkey and risk losing it, or adapt to a diminished role. NATO's cohesion is threatened as trust and security are called into question. The old rules no longer apply, the game board has been reset. The China-Turkey axis is now a central player in a more unpredictable world. The balance of power is shifting before our eyes. As the dust settles on recent developments, experts and analysts around the world are locked in heated debate, trying to predict the future trajectory of this emerging partnership between Turkey and China. The implications are vast, and the uncertainty is palpable. Some observers interpret this alliance as a pragmatic marriage of convenience. Turkey, driven by a desire for greater security and economic opportunity, and China, eager to establish a strategic gateway into Europe. Both nations see clear benefits, but their motivations are not always aligned. Yet, beneath the surface, internal tensions simmer. Issues such as China's treatment of the Uyghur minority have already sparked protests and diplomatic friction, threatening to test the resilience of this alliance in the years ahead. Meanwhile, some warn that we are witnessing the birth of a new global fault line, a world divided between a US-led bloc and a China-centered axis, with Turkey precariously positioned as a bridge between these competing powers. In this volatile environment, the risk of miscalculation during regional crises is very real. A single misstep could have far-reaching consequences, not just for Turkey and China, but for the entire international community. Some optimists suggest that Turkey could play a unique role as a mediator between East and West, leveraging its position to foster dialogue and cooperation. However, this hopeful perspective is rare in Western capitals, where skepticism and caution prevail. Ultimately, the fate of this partnership may rest on economic outcomes. Will Chinese investment truly deliver sustainable growth and prosperity for Turkey, or will mounting debt and growing public backlash fracture the alliance before it can mature? Around the globe, governments and citizens alike are watching closely. Will the so-called Silk Crescent partnership become a pillar of a new international order, or will it serve as a cautionary tale for future alliances? The next few years will be critical, as decisions made now will shape the legacy of this partnership for decades to come. The stakes could not be higher, and the world waits to see which path this new axis will ultimately take. The Silk Crescent Accord is a defining moment, proof that the unipolar era is over and a multipolar world is emerging. China and Turkey, both ambitious and dissatisfied with the old order, are accelerating global change. The West faces a tough choice: confront and risk alienation or adapt and compete. The real test will be in implementation. Can the projects deliver, and will the partnership endure political and military strains? Regional powers will either join this new axis or work to counterbalance it. The events of February 2026 have set a new course for the decade ahead. Old alliances are in flux, and new paths are being forged. The world of yesterday is gone. The ripples from this deal will be felt for years to come.